Okay, so I'm going to make a small introduction here. Our speaker today is Annie McLaughlin, and she's from les Jardins de Montreal. She and another young lady named Clara Kwan are longtime business partners, but they began les Jardins de Montreal in 2020 at the height of the global pandemic. And what they've done is they've joined their collective knowledge of organic production and distribution with the simple goal of getting organic Quebec grown food to Quebecers. Les Jardins de Montreal is both a producer and a distributor of organic produce and offers a high quality product. The other thing that Annie co-founded back in, I believe it was 2014, was Bio-Cyclette. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that has grown into Les Jardins, because the Bio-Cyclette's mission at the time was very simple. They just wanted to grow food and tend to nature in the city using organic, sustainable methods. And I will let you now, Annie, take over. We'll give you 20 or 25 minutes. And as David mentioned earlier, please don't forget to talk to us about the vines.
Yes, of course. There's many different aspects that have grown out of exactly that. Our little Bio-Cyclette start, where I first met David Franklin. We started doing some lawn care for him back in exactly 2014. So Konstantinos Hurdle-Katu and I, my other business partner, started Bio-Cyclette, where we were two city kids, had maybe small little gardens with hostas in them here in the city that our mothers would tend to, but we wanted more. We wanted to start growing food. We wanted to learn about the symbiotic relationships that exist within the garden. So we started knocking on doors, seeing if people wanted to have little vegetable gardens in their backyards. And that really began our journey. So a couple years later, we started renting land out in the West Island. We called ourselves Ferme de l'Île Montréal, where we were growing 5 acres of land, organic vegetables, and selling our stuff to a lot of restaurants in Montreal, as well as to a few markets and grocery stores. And with the global pandemic, we had to re-examine where our food was going. We lost all of our restaurant clients, and we realized that the people who needed our local organic food the most were Montrealers. Those who didn't necessarily have access to them, didn't have health food stores close to them. So we partnered with a bunch of restaurants, and we used their terrace, their now vacant terrace space, as selling points for our vegetables. So this was able to bridge the link between the producer and the consumer on a next level. It wasn't just you were going to the store and buying a pack of arugula and bringing it home. You were there, you were seeing the farmers do these sales, talk to you about their production, and really get that connection. I think one thing that really everyone was craving during the pandemic was connections to each other, as well as connections to nature. So this year, 2022, marked the first year that we actually were able to buy our own piece of land. So Konstantinos purchased the vineyard that we are on now in Les Cèdres, Vignoble d'Ovila, the name, where we have 45 acres of land, 5 acres of vines, as well as 20 acres of vegetable production. We have 6 greenhouses that we rent from the neighbor, where we do all of our seedlings, as well as our heirloom tomatoes. And we're able to start the programming that we really has been at the core of why we're farming from year one. We want to be able to create community through the labor of the land. So that brings us to the end of this year. Now we are going forward, we're bringing all of our collective knowledge that we've acquired over the past 10 years to our next stage of programming. So just quickly, what we're sort of going to go over is just the roots of organic, sort of the shift, where it went to, how we're bringing it back, and where this will be headed. What is the end goal of it all? So traditional agriculture has been around for centuries before and will continue to be around for centuries after. It's really based in a community-based agriculture that co-evolves with culture. So through the collective work of being able to feed your families, feed your communities, feed yourself, as well as work together, plan your seasons according to the agriculture, it unifies. It creates this community, essentially, that a lot of people that are now in these urban areas really crave. So we can now find that in urban gardens and other community groups, even the Rotary, this sense of community, of common interest. And being in nature has always been a wonderful means to be able to share that passion. So what transitioned out of traditional agriculture came with the Green Revolution, where we were working more on increasing the yields, increasing employment opportunities for large-scale farms, bringing all the farmers together to work on main plots of land, and essentially being able to get more food out. The cons of that were, of course, because it was high input kind of agriculture, was with chemical fertilizers. There was the degradation of the land, depletion of the nutrients, and as well as the reduction of livelihood for the farmers, as well as debt. However, organic ag is on the rise, and the principle of this organic production is to develop enterprises that are sustainable and harmonious with the environment. But what does sustainability even mean anymore? Is it just a buzzword that we're using to promote a more eco-friendly consumerism? Or does it actually represent the societal goal of coexisting with each other and with nature for centuries to come? So us as organic farmers, we want to encourage healthy relationships, whether it be with the soil, with the insects and pollinators that bring the fertility, whether it be with the animals that live along with it, or within our teams, our farmers, and our communities that make it happen. So it is returning, and there is a movement, there is a demand for it on the market of local organic produce that's being grown on a grassroots basis. And through these movements, we're gaining this forgotten wisdom, this revival of a culture that brings back a lot of the indigenous knowledge of belief and the value systems of how to work with the land. We're getting better food security at a family level for the farmers, but as well as for the communities surrounding these farms, and a kind of poverty reduction because of the employment that's being generated at a community level. What has been presenting itself as main challenges is the price of land, the lack of interest of a new generation of farmers that have grown up on farms, have been trained to do the dairy, to do the grain, but are no longer interested and are wanting to go to the cities to have an easier life. And in return, those who have grown up in the cities and haven't had access to this beautiful world of agriculture don't have that, never get that opportunity to be able to experience it. Those who do come and do internships at the farm are usually from higher education institutions such as McGill or Concordia, universities where they're already learning. But those who may not have even finished high school find it very difficult to work within these systems that our cities are built for, aren't really given that chance. A great quote by Bio-Cyclette was, may this decade bring more than just solutions, more than just a future. May it bring words we don't yet know yet, and temporalities we have not yet inhabited. So this is the next step. It's where are we going to bring it? How are we going to bridge that gap? And we're going to do so by reestablishing the connection. We're wanting to bring children, youth, seniors out into nature. We want them to be able to experience it, whether it's just coming out to harvest some strawberries, wanting to do a full internship with us, or just coming to volunteer a day in the fields. That experience is what we believe will be able to build the sustainability that the agricultural sector needs, but also be able to inspire personal development from within each one. So essentially that is the direction of Les Jardins de Montreal. Our next phase, starting next spring, is we're training youth. We're offering paid internships to learn from the land while pursuing professional and personal development. And doing so, we're able to connect the city dwellers, some may say, with the land, and in return, being able to sell these produce to the communities from which these youth come from. So our program runs from May to October. There's sort of 3 different stages. The first one being learning through observation and practice. So we'll be trying out a bunch of different tasks and finding the one that most reflects the interest. Then taking on a leadership role within that interest and having those skills refined by the mentorship of a teacher. And finally, a personal project that allows you to explore more within that domain and building that transition to the next step of finding a job that can still continue that personal development and find that fulfillment. So within a farm, there's multiple different workings. There's 6 different areas that have really been able to have their own branches. So we have the seedling production that happens in the spring with starting all of our little plants in the greenhouses. Mechanics is also very important at that time, getting everything repaired and ready for the season. Then as soon as the fields dry out, we have the planting, the weeding, getting all those vegetables healthy and growing well. Then it goes to the harvesting. And then we have our marketing, which is connecting with our clients and setting up markets, as well as the customer service, which is working with the public. We want to facilitate markets and workshops. These are things we've been doing over the past few years within our markets, but want to bring it to a next level. And these sales, a very interesting business model that the City of Montreal has been working on in the past few years are these solidarity markets. So these solidarity markets are usually a pay what you can or sliding scale market system where people are given the opportunity to have access to these organic vegetables through reducing the intermediaries between the local producers and the consumer, and can not the high prices of organic food are actually absorbed by community organizations. We also work with small businesses that want quality food on their plates for restaurants or on their shelves for grocery stores. nonprofits who have missions around food security, such as the NTG Food Depot, and through direct sales in the form of our own markets. So this model is still in our developmental phase. So we've identified, I spent 2 years at Cap Saint-Jacques running a very similar kind of program where we would bring intercity youth to the farm. They would do these programs, and then either they would come back the next year and run the program for the new participants, or would continue through their agricultural careers and go and work on the other local farms that are desperately needing employees. It is hard work farming. There is the elements, there is the uncertainty of crops, pests, all of it. So there's a lot of that's demanded from these farmers, but through proper direction, there's the chance to be able to really thrive in this domain. So now at this vineyard, we are doing our production, we're making our wine, we're creating spaces, we are improving the quality of the soil, we are increasing our production to be able to feed more and more people, and we are continuously looking to expand our networks, to increase our exposure for future participants, looking for the long-term partners. We're working with the municipality of St. Leonard and Montreal North to be able to get our vegetables to the areas where people need them the most, and being able to work with other mentors who have these refined skills and are willing to share them. Essentially, we're looking to reconnect with ourselves through the labor of the land. And this does exist in different forms. However, we're looking for this all-encompassing program that can allow that access throughout these urban areas, as well as find the next generation of farmers. Right now, we're at the reality where average farmer is 52 years old, and the youth who are following don't all have the opportunity to be able to learn from experienced farmers. So bridging that gap is our next step of our production, of our long saga of growing, and is where we have found a real need. So that concludes my brief little presentation about where we've come to date. I'm going to do a little brief summary of what it takes to make wine, because I think it's really fascinating. So grapes in Quebec are not as easy to grow as they are in parts of Europe or in California. We have multiple different elements, such as our cold winters and the high levels of humidity that grapes really don't like. They like it dry and they like it hot. So where we are in Les Cèdres, we're lucky. We have a very strong breeze that actually keeps a lot of our vines in really good health. And we're able to grow 7 different kinds of grapes. We then in turn make 6 different kinds of wines. We have 3 whites, 2 reds, and 1 rosé, and are very, very tasty. We are stamping out that stigma of Quebec wines not being up to par, and are proving that with the proper attention to the soil, we can have amazing products. So I invite all of you next summer to come on out to Les Cèdres. We do little pizza nights on Friday and Sunday to be able to get people out here tasting the wines, enjoying the land. We also do a you pick strawberry, and we're going to be doing pumpkins, as well as a ton of different workshops next year. So stay tuned for great events to bring the family out to. Send the grandkids out to eat strawberries right off the plant. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of really exciting developments. This is really our final stage of this goal we've had from the get-go. And I'm really fortunate to be able to share this with you guys. So if you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer any and all of them, as well as more questions about the production or the wine making, whatever it is you guys have.
Thank you very much, Annie. I'll start us off, actually. I'm curious about some of the numbers.
Yes.
How many people are employed or involved in this effort? How many companies or places are you selling the product to?
So on the land, we're a team of 7 at the moment that are doing all the production and the harvest. And then our distribution channels are very, there's a very wide range. So we sell to over 10 different restaurants. We sold to double that before the pandemic, but now we've really honed in on those who are really focused on spreading the word of organic agriculture. Before, it was just mainly supplier or restaurants who wanted the local, wanted that good quality, but we're able to now really offer our produce to those who are helping us with that spreading of the word. We also run 3 different markets right now, currently, one in NDG. We have another one in Pierrefonds and in Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, as well as selling here at the vineyard. And we are also working with 3 different NGOs who are selling our vegetables within their own solidarity market. So we just drop it off and they sell it to their communities through their own market.
What about pricing? What you tend to hear or see when you go into markets, you go into Loblaws or whatever, and you've got the bananas over here, and then you've got the organic bananas over here, and they're 50% more expensive. How long do you think it's going to take for that to balance itself over the years?
That's a really, really good question. And the reality of that is that it'll take as long as it takes to assess the value of the soil that is being depleted through the use of a lot of these chemical fertilizers. As soon as the consumer can comprehend that with every cheap cauliflower that's churned out, there is another cost that's going to need to be assumed along the line. So there is, of course, right now this pretty drastic difference, but it will balance out as soon as we are able to have a more well-rounded understanding of what the cost of producing cheap food is.
Gotcha. Anybody else have any questions?
Annie, I have a little winery in Ontario, so I appreciate most of the problems you're going through, although we do not call ours organic by any means. But we do a hemp wine called.
Whoa. That's really cool. I would love to get the name of the vineyard after our meeting's done here. That would be really cool to follow up.
Black Prince Winery.
Mac Prince?
Black Prince.
Oh wow. I have a friend who's working here with us who's been there and has actually um well shown me a lot of pictures and wants to design our outdoor pizza oven setup very similar to the Black Prince setup. So I will definitely be visiting your winery next year.
Okay.
Here it's
I
amazing.
was there yesterday.
Oh, wonderful. I guess you guys are closing up soon in terms of the sales.
Well, actually, we're going
ramping up.
to, we've got 2 pizza ovens now, and we're going to probably try and keep open much of the winter now that we can give them a
Oh.
bottle of wine and a pizza for $39.95.
Wow, that's amazing.
Annie, it's David.
Hi, David.
You, I think, participated in a RILA Rotary program.
I did a Rotaract. Yes,
Yeah.
I had gone to Kingston for a grand meeting, met some more amazing people. Very closely connected to the Rotary community out here in the West Island. Going to the Oyster Fest November 4th. Very much looking forward to that. But yeah, I think that the Rotary Club really does share a lot of the values as a lot of the farmers doing this kind of work of really the service over self. And that is, definitely a big part of farming is, sacrificing your time, energy, body, those 12-hour days, the bitter cold, blistering heat. It's for a greater good. And it's, I think, why I've really been able to thrive in this domain is because that is of utmost importance.
Can I ask a question? It's Glenn here. Has there been any work done on calculating the hidden costs of agriculture? I'm thinking of environmental impacts, these sort of things, because my suspicion is that food grown commercially is cheaper than organic in the grocery stores, but that's because we're not taking in all the other social and environmental costs. And that's sort of essential eventually to make the price structure correct. So is there any work being done on that? Are you aware of?
That is such a good question, Glenn. And honestly, that's exactly what I was referring to as well as, these hidden costs of the depletion of the soil, of the employees who aren't getting paid fairly for this work that's being done. There is much less of that kind of research being done on the commercial scale of agriculture, but within the organic realm, there is, because a lot more of these farms are grassroots, and the aspects of mental health are now really being viewed as something that needs to be acknowledged. So there is more attention being put in, but you're right. There needs to be that number at the end of being like, these cheap bananas that are grown in Costa Rica are actually poisoning the water, the land, and the people that are living around it.
Is any work being done, say, at a place, academic work, say at a place like McDonald College, or University of Guelph? I mean, is there any rigorous academic work being done to?
Well, there definitely is more now. So there's, over the past, when Dean was at McDonald College 7 years ago, organic was really not even considered a real feasible way of growing vegetables. And he was, shot down for doing projects on organic agriculture, sort of ridiculed by his classmates and teachers. But now that the impacts of the commercial agriculture are being more and more apparent within our global, climate crisis, there is, and Guelph as well as McDonald College are really able to be at the forefront of this because they have all these systems in place. They've been, dabbling in the organic, but now with the demand and with the amount of students that want to be learning this trade, there's a lot more attention, a lot more resources, and a lot more research being done on that. Sure.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Annie, I wasn't really clear where your farm is and how accessible it was for you to organize bike tours and something like that to go visit.
Yes, totally. So we are in Les Cèdres, which is right next to Vaudreuil-Dorion. We, if you, depending on how far you want to bike, it's just off island. So you would bike along the canal to Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, then just cross over Ile-Perrot and then come on through over to Les Cèdres. But there's also a train that brings people
Yes.
8 minutes away from here, and there's amazing biking around this area. There's beautiful country roads, paved country roads. There's the canal that bring you a little deeper to Lac Saint-François. Really beautiful nature out here. Saint-Lazare has tons of different parks. So we're close enough. It's about 40 minutes away from Westmount. I can make it
Are
there.
you close to the Soulange Canal?
Yes, we're right down the street.
Okay, so it's an easy place to get to by
Yes.
bike. Yeah. Okay.
It is very accessible, and we're wanting to make it more and more accessible. There's going to be the monorail that's opening that will bring people from any metro station, well, from Lionel Groux out to St. Anne's, and then it's a quick bike ride over. So the accessibility is only increasing. We're working with some NGOs right now to be able to get a bus, to be able to get some of our participants out here, sort of like a shuttle service. So it is very, and it's very doable for a little afternoon. Come out to the vineyard, walk around, enjoy the sights, and then head on back for a night on the town.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to get a contact information, maybe next summer, arrange something with you. Yeah.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, we hosted the West Island Rotary Club out here. They came for a little pizza and wine afternoon. It was really lovely to have some familiar faces around.
Can we basically get all the information off the Les Jardins website?
Yeah, you can get it off that one. There's also the Vignoble au Villa. We have about 4, since this is our 4th business now, we have about 4 different websites, but I'll send you an email with all the best contact information.
Great, and I'll make sure everybody gets to see them.
Perfect.
Well, it sounds like you're involved in a labor of love.
It really is. It sort of has to be. And you can ask any farmer that too. You ask them why they do it, and their first response will be because they're insane, which is not wrong. But it's because this insanity brings us the most joy. And when I get to go out into the fields and harvest my bunches of kale, and that's my day in the office, it makes all of it worth it.
Annie, I understand you're going away during the winter.
Yes, so that is definitely a perk of the farming lifestyle, is that we work hard 9 months of the year. We put everything we got into those short growing season we have, and then when it gets bitter cold, we can go and there's a lot of preparations to do, but we don't necessarily have to be here to do it. So I've been returning to Nepal many years in a row, continue farming over there. They have wonderful agriculture as well, learning a lot about that community-based agriculture, of which we're modeling a lot of our systems here within our companies, and enjoying the nature.
Annie, when you get back from trip, you have to tell us where you're going. Would you give a presentation of your expedition?
Of Nepal? Sure,
Yeah.
I would love to. Yeah. There's, oh man, that might have to increase my time there to 35 minutes to be able to fit it all in. But yeah, it's a beautiful world over there.
Have you had any contact with Dawson College? Because they're really deep into this 100% sustainability and no carbon imprint.
I haven't reached out since I was there myself. My sister actually restarted the Green Earth program in Dawson and have yeah, wonderful contacts over there. But I was more connecting with Concordia, who have their city farm school, who are doing a production in the city as well. But yeah, this winter is really about, we want to be making more long-term partners. We want to be getting mentors. So that's a really good suggestion. And I'm going to keep all options open in terms of people to connect with.
Terrific. Listen, thank you so much for taking this time to speak to us.
My pleasure.
It's-
Thank you very much for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't get my camera working there to see you guys. Well, for you guys to see me again. But,
Well, I'm sure we're going to be in touch again, and wish you a wonderful, wonderful winter away from Montreal. Not that it's going to be particularly warm where you're going, I don't think.
no, we still have to bundle up, but the days are nice and warm, so we enjoy.
You are more than welcome to stay with us as we finish the rest of our meeting. However, if you'd like to go out and pick some kale and you sign off, we will not hold it against you at all. So feel free.